Hello friends, have you ever wondered why some people treat money like a game of Monopoly, spending it as soon as they get it, while others guard every dollar as if it's their last? What if I told you that the way you handle money might actually be written in the stars? Yes, your zodiac sign could be shaping your financial habits in ways you've never noticed. Let's dive in and uncover how each sign approaches money, because your horoscope might explain why your wallet looks the way it does. Let's start from the very beginning of the zodiac wheel. Aries, March 21st to April 19th. Aries is bold, fearless, and always ready for action. But when it comes to money, this fiery sign often treats spending like a sport, a race, or even a battlefield. Imagine an Aries with a paycheck in hand. Before the ink on the deposit clears, they've already spotted a new gadget, a flashy outfit, or a weekend adventure calling their name. Aries doesn't linger in the aisles, comparing brands or calculating discounts. They grab, swipe, and move on, their heart racing from the thrill of the purchase itself. For them, shopping isn't just about acquiring things, it's about feeding that inner flame that craves excitement and newness. This impulsive streak can make Aries legendary among friends. They're often the first to suggest an unplanned road trip, book concert tickets at the last second, or try a new restaurant without glancing at the menu prices. "We'll figure it out later" might as well be their financial motto. Their wallets open quickly, but here's the twist: Aries rarely stays down for long. That same fiery spirit that makes them spend recklessly also fuels their ability to bounce back. They're hustlers, entrepreneurs, idea chasers, people who thrive in competitive environments. If they lose money, they treat it like losing a round in a video game. They don't sulk, they reset, recharge, and charge back into the fight to win again. Still, Aries struggles with patience. Long-term savings accounts, retirement funds, or investments that require waiting years to mature. Boring. Aries wants results today, not 10 years from now. That's why many of them lean toward risks, quick wins, or ventures that give instant gratification. But this also means they can get burned if they don't learn to slow down. Picture them at a casino table, convinced that one more bet will bring back everything they lost. Their optimism is powerful, but without balance, it can turn into recklessness. Yet, Aries has a golden advantage: courage. Where others hesitate, Aries leaps. This boldness can lead to breakthroughs in business, career, or investments, if they learn to temper it with strategy. Once an Aries realizes that saving doesn't mean boring, but instead equals more freedom to do what I want later, their financial game changes dramatically. Suddenly, that retirement account isn't a cage, it's a launch pad for even bigger adventures. Friends of Aries often describe them as the life of the party, the one who picks up the tab, buys everyone a round of drinks, and laughs it off later. But behind that generosity lies the lesson they constantly need to face: money is energy, and energy runs out if you don't manage it wisely. Aries must practice the pause, the art of asking, "Do I really need this now, or do I just want the thrill of buying it?" If they master that, their natural ambition ensures they'll never just survive. They'll thrive, building not only wealth but also unforgettable experiences. Until then, expect Aries to be the person who blows their budget on spontaneous fun, then wakes up the next morning already plotting how to make double the money back. And somehow, they usually succeed. Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. Taurus loves stability and comfort, and their money habits are proof of it. While Aries spends like they're running a sprint, Taurus approaches finances like they're building a solid, beautiful house brick by brick. They aren't in a rush. They don't waste energy chasing every shiny object. Instead, Taurus carefully weighs purchases, asking, "Will this bring me long-term comfort? Will it last? Will it make my life more enjoyable every day?" If the answer is yes, they'll spend generously. If not, the money stays safely tucked away. Picture Taurus in a store. They won't be the person grabbing armfuls of sale items just because they're cheap. They'll walk slowly, touch fabrics, test quality, and choose the one perfect piece, even if it costs more. Because Taurus knows that cheap often means replacing it later, and nothing bothers them more than waste. They'd rather invest in a leather bag that lasts 10 years than buy 5 flimsy ones that fall apart in 6 months. Quality is their love language when it comes to money. But don't mistake their practicality for stinginess. Taurus has a soft spot for indulgence. They're ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty and pleasure, and that influence shows. They love cozy homes, delicious food, soothing scents, fine wine, and comfortable clothes. For them, money is the gateway to creating a sanctuary where they can relax and enjoy life's simple pleasures. They don't need wild adventures like Aries. They need a warm blanket, a good meal, and a stable bank account to feel secure. That's their version of wealth. Their natural saving habits make them reliable planners. They're the friends who already have an emergency fund, who pay bills on time, and who think twice before making big financial moves. But there's a hidden shadow. Taurus can cling too tightly to their money, equating financial stability with emotional safety. They may resist taking risks, even calculated ones that could grow their wealth. Security matters so much to them that sometimes they stay in their comfort zone too long, missing opportunities. At the same time, Taurus knows how to enjoy what they earn. Their spending often revolves around things they can touch, taste, or experience daily. Think of a Taurus kitchen, stocked with quality cookware, ingredients for hearty meals, and maybe even a fancy espresso machine. Or their home, warm lighting, a comfortable bed, art on the walls, and perhaps a garden outside. These are not random splurges, they're investments in happiness. When it comes to generosity, Taurus shines. They love treating loved ones, whether it's hosting a dinner party, giving thoughtful gifts, or creating spaces where everyone feels welcome. For them, sharing their wealth isn't about showing off, it's about building bonds. Yet they're careful never to overextend. They give within their means, ensuring they never compromise their own stability. Ultimately, Taurus's relationship with money is about balance. Save steadily, spend wisely, and enjoy deeply. They may not be the fastest to get rich, but they're among the best at keeping what they earn. They see money as a tool to build a life of comfort, reliability, and beauty. And while Aries may burn through cash-chasing thrills, Taurus builds slowly, savoring every step. In the long run, that steady persistence often makes them far wealthier than anyone expected. Wealthy not just in dollars, but in peace of mind, in comfort, and in the ability to live life at their own pace. Gemini, May 21st to June 20th. Gemini's relationship with money is as unpredictable as their moods, and that's saying a lot because Gemini moods can shift faster than a playlist on shuffle. One day, you'll find them with a notebook or app in hand, carefully tracking expenses, categorizing every purchase down to the last latte, and feeling genuinely proud of their financial discipline. The next day, it's as if all those spreadsheets never existed. Suddenly, they're at the mall or online at 2 a.m., buying the latest gadget, splurging on new clothes, or ordering an experience they didn't even know they wanted 5 minutes ago. This dual nature of Gemini makes them one of the most fascinating financial personalities of the zodiac, half disciplined accountant, half free-spirited spender. At the core of Gemini's money habits lies their insatiable craving for variety and excitement. They get bored quickly, and boredom is their financial kryptonite. If saving feels repetitive or dull, they'll abandon it without hesitation. For them, the act of buying something new isn't just about the object itself, it's about the thrill of novelty, the sense of discovery, and the story they'll get to tell about it. Geminis are storytellers by nature, and their purchases often double as props in their ever-evolving narrative. That shiny new phone? It's not just technology, it's a symbol of being up-to-date and in the loop. That last-minute concert ticket? It's not just entertainment, it's a memory in the making. This constant tug-of-war between saving and spending means their bank accounts can look like roller coasters, up one month, down the next, unpredictable but always moving. And yet, here's where Gemini shines. They are incredibly clever and resourceful. When they need money, they don't panic, they innovate. They're the ones who can turn a hobby into a side hustle, land freelance gigs with nothing but charm and quick thinking, or sell old items online faster than anyone else. Money might slip through their fingers, but Geminis always seem to find a way to make more. Their intelligence also makes them savvy when they focus. If they truly commit, they can be brilliant investors or entrepreneurs, spotting opportunities others overlook. But commitment is the key word. Gemini energy can scatter across too many projects at once. They'll start 3 side hustles, get excited about all of them, and then lose interest halfway through. The financial lesson for Gemini is follow through, sticking with one plan long enough to see the rewards. Another interesting trait is how social connections influence their finances. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, so they're natural networkers. Many times, their biggest financial opportunities come not from hard calculations but from conversations, collaborations, and chance encounters. A casual chat with a friend might lead to a lucrative gig, or a random brainstorm could spark a profitable idea. For Gemini, money often flows through their ability to talk, connect, and persuade. However, their spending habits can be inconsistent. They love experiences, travel, dining out, events, and these things add up. They also can't resist trends, whether it's the latest tech release or a new fitness craze. Their wallets often mirror their personalities, curious, experimental, and a little restless. Saving for the long term feels like tying themselves down, and nothing scares a Gemini more than feeling trapped. Yet, when a Gemini truly understands the why behind saving, like funding travel, freedom, or personal growth, they can surprise everyone with their discipline. They're not motivated by numbers alone, they're motivated by possibilities. If saving means unlocking more adventures or giving them the freedom to pivot careers at a moment's notice, suddenly they become financial strategists overnight. Gemini teaches us that money doesn't have to be rigid, it can be flexible, fun, and even playful. But they also remind us that without consistency, it's easy to fall into cycles of feast and famine. The key for Gemini is balance, creating a financial system that keeps them secure while still allowing room for the variety and adventure they crave. When they find that sweet spot, they prove that money isn't just about dollars and cents, it's about fueling a life that never stops moving, never stops exploring, and never stops surprising. Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. Cancers are nurturers, and this extends deeply into their money habits. For them, finances are never just about numbers on a screen or bills in a wallet. They're about security, family, and emotional well-being. Where other signs might see money as a tool for power or pleasure, Cancer sees it as a blanket, a way to keep themselves and their loved ones safe, warm, and cared for. Their financial decisions are rarely impulsive. Instead, they are rooted in their need to create stability for the people they love. Cancer is the sign most likely to save for the long haul, not just for themselves, but for their entire family. They think ahead, planning for emergencies, future homes, children's education, or even retirement decades before it's necessary. Saving isn't a chore for Cancer, it's an expression of love. Every dollar set aside feels like an investment in safety and care. Their bank account becomes a safety net, a quiet reassurance that if something goes wrong, they'll be ready. But don't mistake their caution for stinginess. Cancer is one of the most generous signs when it comes to loved ones. They will happily spend on family dinners, thoughtful gifts, or helping someone through tough times. Their money habits are deeply tied to their emotions. If they feel someone they love is in need, they won't hesitate to open their wallets, even if it stretches their budget. For them, the emotional satisfaction of nurturing far outweighs the temporary loss of cash. Cancer's connection to money also ties back to their love of home. This sign thrives when their living space feels like a sanctuary. They'll spend carefully on home comforts, cozy furniture, quality kitchen tools, or anything that makes their environment more secure and inviting. A Cancer's home is often their proudest investment, and they'll prioritize mortgages, repairs, and upgrades long before flashy purchases. Unlike Aries or Gemini, they're not interested in buying just to buy. Everything has to have meaning, purpose, and lasting value. This emotional tie to finances can sometimes make Cancer cautious to a fault. They may avoid risks that could actually benefit them in the long run. Stocks, business ventures, or entrepreneurial gambles often make them nervous unless they feel 100% sure. Their instinct is to protect what they have, even if it means missing opportunities for growth. At times, this can keep them from achieving the financial expansion they're capable of. However, when Cancer does take financial risks, it's often for the sake of family or long-term stability. They won't gamble for fun, but they might invest in property, education, or businesses that secure the future of their loved ones. For them, money is deeply emotional, and every dollar spent or saved tells a story about their priorities. Another fascinating aspect of Cancer's financial life is how much they rely on intuition. Ruled by the moon, their moods and instincts often guide their money decisions. They might not always follow logical budgeting methods, but somehow, their gut feelings about when to save or when to spend often serve them well. They trust their inner voice more than spreadsheets, and more often than not, it works. Generosity is one of Cancer's strongest financial traits. They are natural providers, and they often feel happiest when they're giving, whether it's cooking a feast for family, covering a loved one's expenses, or donating quietly to causes that touch their hearts. Their money flows most freely when it's connected to love, care, and nurturing. Yet, they have to be careful not to give so much that they neglect their own security. At their best, Cancers are the financial protectors of the zodiac. They remind us that money is not just about wealth, it's about safety, love, and creating a foundation strong enough to weather any storm. Their financial lives are built not on ego or flash, but on deep emotional values. They save not just for themselves, but for everyone they care about. They spend not to impress, but to nurture. And they teach us that true abundance is measured not by the numbers in your account, but by the security and love you can provide with it. Leo, July 23 to August 22. Leos see money as a tool to live large and shine bright, and nowhere is that truer than in the way they approach financial decisions. For Leo, money isn't just paper or numbers on a banking app, it's an amplifier, a megaphone, a spotlight. They use it to express who they are, to show the world their confidence, and to remind everyone around them that life is meant to be celebrated, not simply endured. A Leo doesn't just buy clothes, they invest in outfits that make entrances. They don't just book trips, they curate experiences that become legendary stories. They don't just eat food, they dine, preferably in places with atmosphere, music, and maybe even a little drama. At their core, Leos have a natural love for luxury, fun experiences, and yes, a little bit of showing off. If they host a party, you can bet it won't be in a dull setting with paper plates and weak punch. It will be a full-on event with music, great food, decorations, and that unmistakable Leo flair that makes everyone feel like they're part of something special. Their spending is rarely about simple consumption. It's about creating moments of grandeur, beauty, and joy. To them, money is a paintbrush, and their life is the canvas. This desire to live large often earns Leos the reputation of being spenders, and in many ways, they are. They love to treat themselves, they love to spoil their loved ones, and they love to have the best of the best. But here's the secret. Unlike a reckless spender who throws money away without thought, Leo usually has the ambition to keep the money flowing back in. They are hard workers, natural leaders, and born performers, always ready to step into the spotlight in their careers. A Leo will hustle, negotiate, and charm their way into opportunities that allow them to afford the lifestyle they crave. They are not afraid of high standards because they believe they deserve them, and more often than not, their confidence attracts success. Still, every sign has its challenge, and for Leo, it's balancing their need for glamour with the reality of budgeting. Not every day can be a red carpet event, but try telling that to a Leo with champagne tastes. They may splurge on designer items or extravagant experiences without fully considering whether their bank accounts are ready to handle it. At times, their pride may even push them to spend beyond their means, simply to maintain the image they want the world to see. For Leo, appearances matter, and money often becomes the stage on which they perform their identity. But Leo's generosity is also legendary. This is the sign that loves to pick up the tab at dinner, to shower friends with gifts, or to surprise a partner with something breathtakingly thoughtful. Their joy in giving is as strong as their joy in receiving. They don't use money to hoard, it flows through them, circulating in ways that bring warmth, joy, and connection. People often feel special in the presence of a Leo, and money is one of the ways they make others feel seen and valued. When it comes to financial growth, Leos thrive when they align their ambition with their natural sense of drama and creativity. Careers that put them in the spotlight, allow them to lead, or give them creative freedom often bring them both money and satisfaction. They're not the type to quietly save and live simply. They need goals that inspire them, rewards that feel glamorous, and achievements that reflect their inner royalty. Once they link their financial planning with their larger-than-life dreams, they can achieve wealth in both material and emotional terms. The challenge, of course, is remembering that money isn't infinite, and that a steady flow requires not just ambition but also discipline. Budgeting may not sound glamorous, but for Leo, it can be reframed. A budget isn't a cage, it's a stage manager, ensuring the show goes on without burning out too soon. Once Leos realize that managing money is another way of protecting their shine, they can build empires instead of just moments. At their best, Leos remind us that money should be enjoyed. It's not just about survival, it's about living fully, creating beauty, and making memories that last. They show us that wealth isn't meaningful if it's hidden away in a dark vault, it becomes powerful when it's used to light up lives. And for Leo, the greatest wealth of all is the applause, love, and admiration they earn, not just from their spending, but from the radiant, generous spirit that inspires it. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. Virgos are practical, detail-oriented, and often excellent with money, but their relationship with finances goes far beyond just being good at saving. For Virgo, money is a system, a puzzle, and a reflection of how carefully and thoughtfully they live their lives. They're not reckless, and they're not flashy. Instead, they treat money as a resource that must be respected, managed, and optimized. If you ever need financial advice, truly, ask a Virgo. They'll probably not only have a spreadsheet ready but also a flowchart, a pros and cons list, and 3 backup plans in case things go wrong. Virgos are ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and analysis, which gives them a sharp, analytical mind. They notice the details others overlook. If a subscription is draining $5 extra a month, Virgo will find it. If there's a way to refinance a loan at a better rate, Virgo already has the paperwork. This attention to detail makes them excellent budgeters. They know where every penny goes, and if they don't, it bothers them until they figure it out. Money slipping away unnoticed is Virgo's worst nightmare. They want control, clarity, and accountability. But their practicality doesn't make them stingy. Virgos don't like wasteful spending, that's true, but they will happily invest in something useful, long-lasting, or beneficial for their health and well-being. Think high-quality appliances, ergonomic furniture, or premium vitamins. If it supports their lifestyle in a meaningful way, Virgo considers it money well spent. They're the type to spend extra on a water filter, because they know it's better for health in the long run, or to pay for a durable jacket that will last for years. To Virgo, value is everything. It's not about the price tag, it's about the return on investment. Virgos also tend to be future-oriented. They plan for emergencies, retirement, and contingencies others don't even think about. While some signs live paycheck to paycheck, Virgo is usually building safety nets, whether that's an emergency fund, insurance, or simply knowing how to cut back expenses if needed. They don't like surprises, and financial surprises least of all. Security is deeply important to them, and they find comfort in knowing that no matter what happens, they've prepared as best they can. Another fascinating aspect of Virgo's money habits is how they connect finances to self-improvement. For them, spending is often tied to becoming a better, healthier, or more productive person. They'll sign up for classes, workshops, or tools that sharpen their skills. They'll invest in books, technology, or systems that help them stay organized. They'll even splurge on wellness, because to Virgo, health is wealth. This makes their spending practical but also deeply personal. Yet, Virgos can be perfectionists, and this spills into their financial lives. They may overanalyze decisions, delay purchases for fear of making the wrong choice, or become overly critical of themselves if they make a mistake. They might avoid risks that could bring growth, simply because they can't guarantee a perfect outcome. This caution keeps them safe, but sometimes it also holds them back. Virgo's generosity shows up in quiet ways. They may not be the ones throwing extravagant parties or buying flashy gifts, but they'll always be the friend who slips you cash when you need it, who pays attention to the little things you like, and who provides support that's both thoughtful and practical. For Virgo, money isn't for showing off, it's for solving problems, improving lives, and making sure everything runs smoothly. When it comes to career and wealth building, Virgos excel in fields that require organization, detail, and consistency. They thrive when they can analyze, improve, and bring order to chaos. And because they're so hardworking, they often build wealth steadily over time, not through big gambles or dramatic windfalls, but through discipline, patience, and intelligence. At their best, Virgos remind us that money is not just about spending, it's about purpose. Every dollar has a job, every investment has a reason, and every choice has consequences. They show us that true wealth isn't about excess, but about efficiency, security, and peace of mind. If Leo shows us the joy of shining bright, Virgo shows us the wisdom of steady light, the kind that doesn't flicker, doesn't burn out, but quietly illuminates everything around it. Libra, September 23rd to October 22nd. Libras crave balance, but when it comes to money, balance is often the very thing they're searching for rather than the thing they already have. Imagine Libra standing in front of a store window. On one shoulder, the angel whispers, "Be practical, you don't need it, think about your savings." On the other shoulder, the devil grins and says, "But it's gorgeous, you deserve it, life is too short not to indulge." This inner tug of war is the soundtrack of Libra's financial life. They are constantly weighing, debating, and second-guessing. And while that might sound exhausting, it actually makes their money habits fascinating, because they can swing dramatically from one extreme to the other. On one hand, Libras genuinely want to be responsible. They care about stability, they understand the value of saving, and they even enjoy the peace of mind that comes with financial security. They're capable of being disciplined, drawing up budgets, and telling themselves, "Okay, no splurges this month." But then beauty enters the room, whether it's art, fashion, decor, or even just a stunning dinner set, and suddenly, Libra's practicality melts. They have a natural attraction to elegance, refinement, and aesthetics. For them, money isn't just about numbers, it's about surrounding themselves with beauty that makes life feel balanced, graceful, and elevated. This is why Libra's spending habits often swing from frugal to extravagant. One month, they're proud of cutting corners, cooking at home, and watching their savings grow. The next, they're swept away by a designer bag, a luxury spa day, or a piece of art that spoke to them, and suddenly their budget is blown. Libras live in a world of contrasts, restraint and indulgence, necessity and beauty, saving and splurging. Their love for indulgence doesn't come from carelessness, though. Libras don't spend recklessly just for the thrill of it, they spend because something feels right. Their purchases are often tied to their sense of harmony and self-expression. They want to feel beautiful, to live beautifully, and to share beauty with others. A Libra home, for example, is often a carefully curated space filled with tasteful touches that create balance and peace. This is where their money often goes, not to piles of unnecessary junk, but to items that reflect their refined taste. Another unique aspect of Libra's financial life is their social nature. Libras are ruled by Venus, the planet of love and pleasure, and they thrive in company. They love going out, dining with friends, hosting gatherings, or buying thoughtful gifts. Their generosity often leads them to spend more than they intended, simply because they want to keep everyone happy. They hate conflict and dislike saying no, which means they can sometimes end up footing bills or agreeing to expenses that throw off their financial plans. But Libras are also smart. They know when they've tipped too far in one direction, and their natural instinct to seek equilibrium eventually pulls them back. After a big splurge, they'll often swing into savings mode, cutting back until they feel balanced again. Their challenge is learning how to live in the middle consistently, instead of bouncing between extremes. For Libras, the key is finding that sweet spot between financial security and enjoying life's pleasures. When they understand that beauty and responsibility can coexist, that they don't have to choose one over the other, they find financial peace. Budgeting doesn't have to feel restrictive for them. It can become an art form, a way of creating harmony between necessity and desire. Once Libra reframes money management as a balance of energies rather than a battle of opposites, they can thrive. At their best, Libras teach us that money isn't just about survival. It's about creating beauty, sharing joy, and finding harmony in the way we live. They remind us that financial decisions aren't cold, logical equations. They're reflections of who we are and what we value. For Libra, wealth isn't measured only by the size of a savings account, but by the elegance of a life well lived. Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. Scorpios are mysterious about money. They don't always reveal how much they have, but trust me, they're keeping track. In fact, no sign guards their financial privacy quite like Scorpio. Ask them directly about their bank balance and you'll probably get a vague smile, a shrug, or a clever deflection. They don't want the world to know, because money, for Scorpio, is power. And power is not something they ever hand over freely. Beneath the secrecy, however, lies a razor-sharp financial mind. Scorpios are strategic savers and investors, and they approach money like a chessboard. Every move has a purpose, every risk is calculated, and every decision is designed for long-term gain. They're not interested in quick thrills or temporary wins. They want to build something that lasts. This is why Scorpios are often drawn to investments, business ventures, or financial strategies that focus on wealth building over decades, not days. While others are distracted by flashy trends, Scorpio is playing the long game. Their intensity also shows up in their ability to transform financial challenges into opportunities. Where some people panic in the face of debt, job loss, or financial setbacks, Scorpio rises like the phoenix they are. They thrive in crisis. A Scorpio who hits rock bottom financially doesn't stay there for long. They study, plan, strategize, and rise back stronger, often turning the very setback into the foundation for their future success. This resilience makes them one of the most financially powerful signs of the zodiac. That's not to say they never spend. Scorpios are deeply emotional, and sometimes they will splurge, but only on things that feel meaningful. They're unlikely to waste money on cheap thrills or fleeting trends. Instead, they'll invest in something that resonates with their soul. It might be a once-in-a-lifetime trip, a luxury item that symbolizes transformation, or a gift for someone they love that carries emotional weight. For Scorpio, purchases must have depth. Their relationship with money is also tied to control. Scorpios feel safest when they are in control of their resources, and they rarely like to rely on others financially. They would rather struggle alone than owe anyone. This independence makes them powerful earners and determined savers, but it can also isolate them if they refuse to share financial burdens. Still, when Scorpio does share their wealth, it's usually with people they deeply trust, and their generosity can be profound. Because they're ruled by Pluto, the planet of transformation, Scorpios often experience extremes in their financial lives. They may go through periods of great scarcity, followed by times of abundance. But unlike other signs, these shifts don't break them, they transform them. Each financial cycle adds to their wisdom, teaching them lessons they use to climb higher. What makes Scorpio especially fascinating is their intuition. They can sense opportunities, risks, and hidden truths in ways others can't. This makes them excellent investors, entrepreneurs, or strategists. They see beneath the surface, spotting patterns and predicting outcomes. Many Scorpios succeed financially not just because they work hard, but because they know when to strike, when to hold back, and when to transform an idea into action. In relationships, Scorpios' financial habits can be intense. They may want to manage shared resources, or at least keep a close eye on them. They're protective of their wealth, not because they're selfish, but because they equate money with survival, independence, and empowerment. If they trust you, they'll build with you. If they don't, they'll guard their accounts with iron walls. At their best, Scorpios are masters of financial transformation. They show us that money is not just about comfort, it's about growth, resilience, and strategy. They remind us that financial setbacks are not failures but opportunities to rebuild stronger. And above all, they teach us that true wealth isn't about flaunting numbers, it's about quietly building power, holding it close, and knowing exactly how to use it when the time is right. Sagittarius, November 22nd to December 21st. Freedom-loving Sagittarius values experiences over possessions, and nowhere is this more evident than in the way they handle their finances. For Sagittarius, money is not meant to be locked away, hidden in vaults, or hoarded like a dragon guarding treasure. To them, money is energy, something that should flow, move, and create opportunities for adventure. If you want to know what Sagittarius thinks about saving for retirement versus spending on a last-minute flight across the world, the answer is easy: give them the plane ticket. Sagittarians live for the stories, the memories, the rush of experiencing something new. A new gadget may be fun, a luxury item may be tempting, but nothing beats the thrill of standing in a foreign country, tasting food they've never had before, or hiking up a mountain just to say, "I did it." This is why Sagittarius often spends big on travel, adventures, and anything that feeds their insatiable curiosity. They'll happily empty their wallets for experiences that expand their horizons. A Sagittarius might pass on buying a car but never think twice about splurging on a month-long backpacking trip. Their philosophy is simple: possessions fade, but memories are priceless. They know that what they gain from experiences, wisdom, growth, perspective, cannot be measured in dollars. Of course, this wanderlust and appetite for newness means saving isn't always their strong suit. Sagittarius can sometimes live as if tomorrow will magically take care of itself. And strangely enough, it often does. They have a natural optimism, a belief that the universe will provide, and somehow, it usually works out. Sagittarians are incredibly resilient. Even after spending big, draining accounts, or taking risks that others would call reckless, they manage to bounce back financially with surprising speed. It's as if their fearless attitude opens doors for them. Opportunities seem to appear just when they need them most. This doesn't mean Sagittarius is careless. They're not oblivious to money, they simply don't want it to rule their lives. They don't chase wealth for its own sake. For them, money is a passport, not a prison. It buys them the freedom to explore, learn, and live boldly. They'd rather have enough to keep moving than mountains of savings that keep them tied down. At times, their risk-taking can cause financial instability. A Sagittarius might gamble on a new business venture, trust their gut on a risky investment, or blow through savings with the belief that, "I'll make it back somehow." And while their confidence is inspiring, it can also backfire. Their challenge lies in finding balance between their thirst for freedom and the realities of financial responsibility. Still, their ability to recover is unmatched. Sagittarians don't dwell on losses. If they spend too much, they don't spiral into regret. They shrug, laugh it off, and start brainstorming the next way to earn. This lightness around money actually helps them. They don't let fear paralyze them, and that's often why they find success where others hesitate. Generosity is another hallmark of Sagittarius. They love to share their adventures, invite friends along, and spend freely on the people they care about. For them, money is best when it brings joy not just to themselves, but to others. They'd rather split a meal with friends in a new city than eat alone at the fanciest restaurant. They are the sign most likely to buy you a ticket just so you can come along for the ride. In the end, Sagittarius teaches us that money is a means, not an end. They remind us that life is not about what you own, but about what you experience, what you learn, and how you grow. Their financial life may look chaotic on paper, with ups and downs, but their wealth lies in their adventurous spirit and their faith that things will always work out. And for Sagittarius, that faith, combined with resilience, usually makes it true. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. Capricorns take money seriously, so seriously that you'd think they were born with a financial planner's manual already in their hands. From an early age, many Capricorns develop an almost instinctive sense of responsibility when it comes to money. They understand the value of discipline, the importance of hard work, and the necessity of planning for the future. If there's a zodiac sign most likely to have a retirement plan at age 25, it's Capricorn. While others are still figuring out how credit cards work, Capricorn is already thinking about mortgages, investments, and long-term strategies. They're disciplined, hardworking, and often laser-focused on building financial security. Money, to Capricorn, isn't about glamour or show. It's about stability, respect, and the peace of knowing that the future is under control. They don't want to just survive. They want to build, to create a foundation strong enough to support not only themselves but often their families as well. Their approach to money is practical, methodical, and grounded in reality. They know that wealth isn't built overnight, and they're willing to sacrifice today for a stable tomorrow. That sacrifice often shows up in their spending habits. While some signs are impulsive, Capricorn is cautious. They think carefully before purchases, asking, is this necessary? Will this last? Does this fit into my long-term goals? They're not immune to indulgence, but for them, every dollar must have purpose. This practicality makes them excellent savers. They are often the ones with an emergency fund, a detailed budget, and a clear financial plan. If a Capricorn says they're saving for something, you can trust they'll get there. Work ethic is another cornerstone of Capricorn's financial success. They're not afraid of long hours, hard labor, or slow progress. To them, consistency pays off more than shortcuts. This is why many Capricorns climb steadily in their careers, moving up the ladder with patience and determination. They don't need instant gratification. They know the value of waiting for the right reward. And when the payoff comes, it's usually substantial. But while their seriousness is admirable, it can sometimes become a trap. Capricorns can be so focused on building for the future that they forget to enjoy the present. They may deny themselves pleasures, vacations, or small indulgences in the name of responsibility. They might think, I'll enjoy life once I've reached this milestone, only to set another milestone as soon as they arrive. Their challenge is remembering that money is not just for security, but also for living. Still, Capricorn's financial wisdom is unmatched. They understand investments, long-term growth, and the importance of stability better than almost anyone. They're drawn to tried and true methods: real estate, retirement funds, diversified portfolios. They're not gamblers, they're builders. They know that true wealth isn't flashy, it's steady, reliable, and lasting. Capricorns also value respect in their financial lives. They want to be seen as dependable, successful, and in control. This often drives them to set high standards for themselves. They measure success not only by their bank accounts but also by the reputation they build through hard work and consistency. For them, financial security isn't just about money, it's about dignity and self-respect. When it comes to generosity, Capricorn may not be as flamboyant as Leo or as free-spirited as Sagittarius, but their giving is deeply meaningful. They may invest in their family's future, pay for education, or provide support in ways that last a lifetime. Their love shows through responsibility. If Capricorn helps you financially, it's because they've thought it through, and they intend to make a real difference. At their best, Capricorns remind us that money is about building something that endures. They show us that discipline, patience, and responsibility are not just boring words, they are the foundations of real success. But they also need to remind themselves that enjoying their hard-earned wealth is part of the equation. After all, stability is important, but so is happiness. The ultimate lesson for Capricorn is this: yes, plan for tomorrow, but don't forget to live today. Aquarius, January 20th to February 18th. Aquarius has an unconventional approach to money, and this truth defines almost every financial choice they make. They are the visionaries of the zodiac, the rebels who question everything, and the thinkers who believe money should serve ideas, not the other way around. While most people see money as security, status, or comfort, Aquarius sees it as a tool, something fluid that should help them build new worlds, fund innovation, and create change. That's why they rarely follow traditional financial rules. Tell an Aquarius to stick to a 9-to-5 job, save a percentage of every paycheck, and invest in the safe option, and you'll see their eyes glaze over. They are far more interested in exploring what's next, the startup, the crypto project, the revolutionary invention, or the social cause that could change lives. This unconventional approach means their money habits can sometimes look erratic from the outside. They might appear reckless to more practical signs because they take risks on things that aren't proven. But here's the thing: Aquarius often sees trends before anyone else. They have an instinct for spotting innovation, for recognizing the future when others are still clinging to the past. It's why so many Aquarians are drawn to technology, progressive ideas, and financial systems that challenge the norm. Their investments might seem wild at first, but give it a decade, and suddenly, they're ahead of the curve. Aquarius values freedom over wealth, and this shapes everything about their financial life. They do not want to feel chained to a paycheck, bound by debt, or stuck in a job that stifles their creativity. To them, financial success isn't about buying mansions or luxury cars, it's about having the freedom to live on their terms, to explore their passions, and to dedicate themselves to causes they care about. Money is only useful if it allows them to stay true to themselves. Because of this, they can be both incredibly generous and surprisingly detached from material things. Aquarius has a humanitarian streak, and when they have money, they often give to causes, charities, or communities they want to support. They care deeply about collective progress, and they're willing to share their resources if it means advancing humanity. But at the same time, they're not particularly motivated by personal luxury. They might dress simply, live in modest surroundings, and care very little about keeping up with the Joneses. For them, wealth is meaningless unless it creates impact. However, this detachment from traditional financial priorities can also create challenges. Aquarius sometimes struggles with grounding their ideals in reality. They may fund too many projects at once, donate more than they can afford, or put energy into ideas that don't yet have a practical foundation. Their big vision often outpaces their budget, and that can leave them stretched thin. Despite these challenges, their creativity and intellect often help them bounce back. Aquarians are problem solvers. When one path fails, they innovate another. They thrive in fields that reward originality: tech, science, activism, design, or anything on the cutting edge. Their ability to adapt, pivot, and invent new ways of making money keeps them afloat, even when traditional stability eludes them. For Aquarius, money is a means to make the world better. They measure success not by what they accumulate, but by what they contribute. Their financial lives remind us that money doesn't have to be about greed or fear. It can be about progress, vision, and the courage to create something different. At their best, Aquarians teach us that true wealth is freedom. The freedom to think differently, act boldly, and invest in the future we believe in. Pisces, February 19th to March 20th. Pisces is dreamy, intuitive, and often a bit too trusting when it comes to money. While some signs approach finances with logic and cold calculation, Pisces approaches them with heart. For them, money is not about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about energy, flow, and meaning. And because they're ruled by empathy and compassion, they can be generous to a fault. Pisces will give their last dollar to a friend in need, donate impulsively to causes that tug at their emotions, or spend money on making someone else happy, even when it hurts their own financial stability. This generosity makes them beautiful souls, but it can also make them vulnerable. Pisces often trusts too easily. They may believe in promises that never materialize, invest in someone's dream without clear guarantees, or fall prey to financial manipulation because they want to believe the best in people. Their compassion sometimes blinds them to the harsh realities of money, and they can end up giving more than they can afford, both emotionally and financially. Yet Pisces has something that keeps pulling them back: creativity. They are natural artists, dreamers, and visionaries. When traditional financial paths fail them, they often find unique, imaginative ways to earn. A Pisces might build a career in music, art, writing, film, healing, or spiritual work, fields that others dismiss as risky, but where Pisces' talent and intuition shine. They may not always earn in conventional ways, but when they align with their gifts, abundance flows toward them. For Pisces, money isn't just about survival, it's about creating beauty, art, and meaningful experiences. They see wealth as something that should inspire, heal, and uplift. This is why they often spend on things that others might see as impractical: painting supplies, instruments, spiritual retreats, or moments of pure magic. For Pisces, those impractical purchases are essential to their soul. Still, they can sometimes struggle with boundaries. Pisces doesn't always know when to say no, whether it's to themselves or others. They might spend impulsively because something feels right in the moment, only to regret it later. Or they may give too much of their resources away, leaving themselves vulnerable. Their challenge is learning that true generosity doesn't mean self-sacrifice, it means balancing giving with self-care. Pisces also has a unique spiritual relationship with money. Many of them believe in abundance, karma, or the idea that money will flow back when given with love. While this faith can protect them from fear-based scarcity, it can also leave them unprepared for practical realities. A Pisces who trusts too much in the universe will provide may find themselves facing bills with no plan. Yet, more often than not, they somehow find a way through, because Pisces has an uncanny ability to attract help, opportunities, or inspiration just when they need it most. At their best, Pisces teaches us that money doesn't have to be cold or transactional. It can be soulful, creative, and infused with compassion. They remind us that wealth is not only about what we save, but about what we create, what we share, and how we touch the lives of others. Their path may be winding, full of risks and leaps of faith, but it is also full of meaning. Pisces shows us that true wealth isn't about accumulation, it's about connection. It's about the art we create, the kindness we show, the beauty we bring into the world. And while they may need to learn stronger boundaries and practical strategies, Pisces will always approach money in a way that makes it feel human, soulful, and deeply alive. So, what does your zodiac sign say about your money habits? This isn't just a casual question. It's the kind of thing that invites you to look deeper, beyond the surface, and reflect on patterns you might not have even realized were shaping your financial life. Maybe you've noticed that you always feel the urge to splurge when you're excited, or that you can't relax unless you've got a safety net tucked away in your savings account. Astrology gives us a playful, symbolic way of connecting the dots between our personalities and our spending styles. It's not about predicting your bank balance to the dollar. It's about showing you why you might be drawn to certain choices and what your strengths and weaknesses are when it comes to money. The question lingers because it's more than just curiosity. It's about recognizing that your habits might not be random at all. They could be influenced by the stars, woven into your natural temperament, nudging you towards certain patterns in the way you earn, save, or spend. Are you the disciplined Capricorn, the adventurous Sagittarius, or maybe the impulsive Aries? Are you the disciplined Capricorn, the adventurous Sagittarius, or maybe the impulsive Aries? This is where the fun really begins, because the answer to that question isn't just about which zodiac sign you were born under. It's about seeing yourself in these archetypes and asking, which one feels the most like me? Maybe you identify with Capricorn's laser-focused determination, the kind of person who takes money seriously and plans for the long haul, always building toward stability. Or maybe you resonate with Sagittarius, who sees money as a passport to freedom, a way to explore, discover, and live without being tied down. Or perhaps you're Aries at heart, swiping the card without hesitation, diving headfirst into purchases just for the thrill of it, trusting you'll find a way to bounce back later. Each example paints a picture of how different signs move through the world of finances, some with spreadsheets and structure, others with fire and spontaneity. And the beauty is, there's no right or wrong. Each style has its strengths, each comes with lessons, and each reflects a piece of who you are and how you engage with the material side of life. If you enjoyed exploring this cosmic connection between money and the stars, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more astrology insights, and check out the links in the description for other videos you'll love. If you enjoyed exploring this cosmic connection between money and the stars, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more astrology insights, and check out the links in the description for other videos you'll love. Why? Because engaging with the channel doesn't just support the work, it also opens the door for you to dive even deeper into the patterns, secrets, and stories the zodiac has to offer. Every like signals to the algorithm that this content matters, that it's something worth sharing with more people, and every subscription ensures you won't miss the next time we peel back another layer of astrology's influence on daily life. And those links in the description? Think of them as treasure maps, guiding you to even more videos that will spark curiosity, answer questions you didn't even know you had, and expand your understanding of how the stars weave into everything from love and career to self-growth and, yes, your wallet. By staying connected, you're not just watching passively, you're joining a community of people who are curious, thoughtful, and open to seeing life through the lens of the cosmos.